And since Israel-Hamas war has entered 10th day, more and more countries are likely to join in the fight. Syria is involved, Iran is involved majorly. What sort of impact are you looking at on crude oil prices in India, if at all, and also on inflation? We understand there will be a substantial impact on the current account deficit, but any sort of impact that you're looking at, you're anticipating on inflation numbers?
Uh, Not immediately, Shweta, because we are maintaining a balance. And the problem at our end is that we have 5 state elections up until December 23. Uh, Next year, you have a big election. So, how much of leverage does the government have in case if the crude oil prices have to bump up and if Iran has to jump in this particular situation? Uh, I think passing on any kind of fuel price hike to the end consumer, given the 5 state elections and a big election next year, I think that possibility looks to be a bare minimum. Whatever happens, I think the government will have to possibly take in some part of it, and possibly some part of it will have to be borne by the oil marketing companies. So
Okay.
that may lead to a higher fiscal burden on the government's balance sheet.
And an excise
And
revenue cut, perhaps?
yes, and possibly some amount of strain on the earnings for oil marketing companies, because with the 5 state election and a big election next year, I don't think government will have much of a leverage to pass on the hike to the end consumer. So that will be a wait and watch situation, Shweta. I think we'll have to just uh, live by the hour in terms of news flows and what happens to the crude oil prices.
Okay, so this is as far as immediate understanding of how long the war is going to pan out. But let's say the war prolongs, it goes into its second month or third month. We've seen Russia-Ukraine war continuing for a year and a half now. What happens in that case? Likelihood of it hurting Indian consumers as well, the resultant hike in oil prices?
It will be, and not only Indian consumers will get impacted by that, but world economies will also will go into a little bit of slow kind of a move. And already we have high inflation, interest rate situation in developed countries like US and Europe. If this situation escalates, then definitely that's going to add to the problem, not solve the problem. And in that kind of a scenario, I think. Discretionary spend will be pulled back.
Okay.
People would want to switch over to alternative, products rather than go in for, whatever they used to consume earlier. And there will be rationalization that will take place, Shweta. So, and in case if this war has to escalate and neighboring countries do get in the Arab League or the Arab world, then definitely that will have its own repercussions on the global economies, including India.
All right.
Now, Gaurang, in light of all the concerns that we have been talking about since morning, crude prices being elevated for longer, interest rates staying high, and returns also moderating, demand not coming from Western countries as well as China. So, do you expect the returns to also stay muted going forward, at least from in a month's perspective down the line for Nifty?
See, honestly, I don't look at short to medium term. But if the situation is what it is, and if it has to escalate, then you definitely have to scale down your expectation as far as returns are concerned. And more so, unfortunately, when things were looking a little bit more on the positive side, for the last 10 days, we have this situation between Israel and Hamas. We've heard about certain news items wherein Syria and Iran is possibly, sending out warnings to Israel, making repeated requests to the UN to tell Israel to scale down the escalated situation that they are into. Uh, Unfortunately, Shuas, again, geopolitical situation like this, it's very difficult to have any kind of assumption or any kind of forward-looking statements. It's very difficult to make. Like I've been mentioning, I think we'll have to possibly react to it as and when the news flows come to us.